Welcome to What in the Duck podcast. I'm your host, Oliver Peck. What in the Duck podcast is proud to be sponsored by Yellow Rose Canyon, your premier event space and campground nestled in the piney woods of East Texas. With cabins and RV sites available, Yellow Rose Canyon is perfect for your next event, no matter the size. A wedding, reunion, festival, you name it. Check it all out at yellowrosecanyon.com. All right. Welcome to another episode of What in the Duck podcast. As always, I'm your host, Oliver Peck. Also, as always, I'm fucking happy to be here. It's a beautiful day today. Hope it's a beautiful day wherever you are. And today we have a cool episode about leather jackets. I was able to sit down with Jason Schott, whose family started Schott Leathers like 100 fucking years ago. Very interesting story. Very cool company. The best, hands down, American-made leather jacket that you will ever get your hands on. That's right, Schott Leathers. I'm going to start off the episode with a couple of questions from the Gmail, like I always do. If you have any questions you want me to ask, all you got to do is email them over to whatintheduckpodcast@gmail.com. And if I answer your question on the show, we will be sending you some free shit. Apparently, turns out, people like free shit. I mean, why wouldn't you? Especially cool shit. We give away cool shit from What in the Duck podcast. And all you got to do is email a question. It's got to be a good question, though. And you also have to not ask the same question over and over and over. You know, obviously we get a lot of the same toothpick, mustache, red shoe, hard, you know, these very typical questions. You got to think out of the box, people. You got to get wild. Ask an interesting question, and you could get some free shit from What in the Duck podcast. And first question, kind of your run-of-the-mill question, but we're going to answer it anyway. But this is from Garrett. I guess it's Garrett with a G. He says, "Hey, Oliver, I think we've all seen the infamous video of you getting your palm tattooed. I was just wondering if that was the most painful tattoo you received, as you have a bodysuit. I've talked about that a lot. Talked about that. That's the part of the question that's the same old question, but talked about it a lot. The palm does hurt, yes, but it's a small tattoo, so it only took like less than an hour. But if your ribs hurt as much as your palm and took 8 hours to do, nobody would have a rib fucking piece. I'm going to just say that. But people ask me what hurts the most, what tattoo hurt the most, and I commonly answer the 7th hour. Whatever the tattoo is, when you're 7 hours in, it fucking hurts. No matter where the tattoo is, the first couple hours you're dealing. But as time goes on, tolerance wanes. And your inner crybaby really, really comes to the surface. But here's the question. He says, what is the hardest spot for you to tattoo personally? Let me silence that. The hardest spot for me to do a tattoo is the neck. The neck is the worst. I actually retired from doing necks and didn't do them. And then recently I did get, bullied into doing another neck tattoo. Thanks, Court. Way to go. No, so we just tattooed Court's neck, and I've retired from doing necks after Court's neck. It's just, actually, Court was sat like a rock and did really well, so it made it not so bad. But I've tattooed a couple people's necks in the last couple years, and they just move and jump. And every time you touch them with a needle, they jerk their head. I'm like, hey, you got to stay still. And they say, I'm trying. And I was like, no. I didn't say try to stay still. I said stay still. There's a difference between trying to stay still, because when you're trying to stay still, you're still fucking moving. But being still is being still. So if you're going to go get your neck tattooed and you're going to try to stay still, don't even fucking get your neck fucking tattooed. Don't come in here with this I'm trying bullshit. You either stay fucking still or you don't get a fucking neck tattoo. I think the problem with the people getting their neck tattooed nowadays is that they only got like 6 tattoos and then they're getting their fucking neck tattooed. You know, if you already had your ribs tattooed and your inner thigh tattooed and your butt crack tattooed and your sternum tattooed, you know, and your, you know, all these spots, and you already had a lot of tattoos, which is what you're supposed to do before you get your neck tattoo. If you already went through all this excruciating pain and you already amassed a lot of tattoos, you're committed and you know you can handle it. And so then you move on to the neck. Nowadays, too many people are getting their neck tattooed. It's like their first 2 or 3 tattoos. And then they're like, oh, I'm trying to stay still. Yeah, trying. You can go somewhere else with that trying bullshit. And this philosophy goes towards anything in life. You can either do something or you can try to do something. I recommend that everyone out there quit trying anything. Don't ever try. Just fucking do it. Now, you can do it and fail, but you're fucking doing it. You're not trying it. Trying it is tipping your toe in. Trying it is fucking like, oh, is the water cold? Let me try it. No, don't try it. Just jump the fuck in. So I'm kind of on the fence of doing neck tattoos anymore or not. But neck tattoos nowadays definitely come with the disclaimer that, you know, you move, it's going to be fucked up. And the other thing about getting old and being a tattooer is, like, when you're young, you really care about, like, trying to do the best, which I still care about doing the best. But I no longer have any guilt for the tattoo looking fucked up if you're jumping around. Like, if you're jumping around, then I'm fine with it. You're fine with it, I'm fine with it. Let's just keep chatting. You know what I mean? If you don't care enough about the tattoo looking good to sit still, then why the fuck should I care enough about the tattoo looking good? I'm just going to do the tat. You move around, it moves around, that's what you get. But when you're young, you're like, oh no, I'm going to do real slow and try to make sure. No, you got to fucking sit still. If you can't sit still, I think you're just going to get a fucked up tattoo. That's how it is. Does that seem fair? Is that the question? What was the question at the start? Oh yeah, the hardest part to tattoo. Hardest thing to tattoo is people that don't sit still. There you go. Thanks, Jarrett. Jarrett also adds at the end of his email, hashtag Pearl Jam sucks. So appreciate that. And just to let everybody know, I did learn something new on the internet recently, that hashtags are kind of like not an important thing anymore. So I think you can just not put a million hashtags on the end of every post you make anymore. But if you are going to hashtag, you should definitely hashtag Pearl Jam sucks. Next question is from Jessica. Hello, my name is Jessica. I'm from Dallas, but moved away over 10 years ago. I remember going to your Christmas party a few years in a row. It was such a great party, and I was wondering if you still have it? ? I am planning on coming back to Dallas for the holidays, and it would be so cool if I could go to that party again. ? What do I gotta do to get invited? ? Thanks, Jessica. Well, Jessica, yes, we do still have the party. This year will be the 29th annual Elm Street Tattoo Charity Christmas party and anniversary. Our Christmas party is the anniversary of the shop. This year is 29 years in business. And we did this Christmas party the first year, at the end of our first year of business. And it was like, just happened to be Christmas time, and it was our anniversary party. So we made it a Christmas party. And the story about the party goes is that back then, our friend base was fucking wild. We had a tattoo shop in Deep Ellum in the mid-90s. And everybody we knew was completely insane and partied fucking hard. And we're like, man, we're going to have a party. Oh, shit, we're going to have all our friends there. It's going to get crazy. And we decided that if you're going to have a party, you got to have open bar, have free drinks. And then we said, oh, no. Our friend group with free drinks, shit is going to get out of hand. What are we going to do? And so me and my partner, Dean, we came up with this ingenious plan to make it formal dress. That would do two things. The two things that we hope to accomplish by making it formal dress is some of our complete deadbeat loser friends would, A, not be able to get in because they're bums, or two, the people that did dress up would be more inclined to act more civilized and not, like, ruin their clothes. The plan worked out great. Yeah, we were pretty lenient on the formal. You just couldn't wear, like, jeans and a t-shirt. So a lot of people did wear suits and ties. Some of us wore tuxedos. But a lot of people would just wear, like, a nice sweater or just a jacket or, nice pants. Me, myself, I always wear a suit, something super fly, something outrageous, something silly, but I usually wear, like, red Vans with my suit. So there's a little leniency on the formal deal. But anyway, it worked out great. The party was a hit, and we've done it every year since. And man, it's been a wild ride. But I will say this: back then, people were insane. And the story of my life these days is, I heard this song the other day, and I'm like, that's my life. All my rowdy friends have settled down, because we used to get crazy. The party is still going. It's just an older crowd. I mean, we're older. You're older. Everybody's older. And that's just the way it goes. The party is still probably one of the best parties of the year. It is formal, nice, dress up, open bar, casino gambling, live music, catered food. I mean, it's killer. And we always do the party on a Wednesday night. Oh, that was the other thing from the beginning. We'll have it on a weeknight. That way people got to do shit tomorrow and they won't get too wild. That didn't happen. It still got wild. But next year will be the 30th, and we're going to go big. And we'll probably do a weekend night. Probably do a Saturday night for the 30th. But this year the party is, I think it's Wednesday, December 17th. And we do have invitations at the tattoo shop. And you got to go in the tattoo shop and get an invitation. And you got to bring a toy. That's the point I was getting at. We decided if we're going to have a party and we're going to make all our drunk friends show up and get free drinks, we're going to make them give something back. So we always give toys. And we got to bring a toy to get in. And we give all the toys to less fortunate kids in the area. Orphanages, foster care programs. I will tell you a little story. Years and years ago, we used to give the toys to Toys for Tots. And I think it was Channel 8. There was a news channel in town that collected toys for children. Let's just say that. Let's go back and just say some news channel collected toys to give to kids. And that year was insane. We had like truckloads of toys. So we took all these toys down and we loaded them up. We put them in the front lobby of this downtown building. And then a few days later, I was like cruising by the front of that place. Or a few days after, right before Christmas, like a couple days right before Christmas, I cruised by and I saw the toys piled up still. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. And I fucking made a U-turn. I went around, and the guy at the gate was like, hey, man, you know, Bubba, what do you got to have a pass to get in here? And I'm like, no, I need to talk to somebody at the desk. And they're like, oh, well, I'm like, about these toys. I'm like, oh, well. And so I made a fit. I got into the lobby, and they're like, I was like, hey, what's going on with these toys? And like, oh, you know, we got too many donations this year. We didn't have enough people to distribute them. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, we didn't have enough people to distribute them, so these are both. I'm like, well, what's going to happen to them? And the lady's like, oh, well, we don't know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hey, all these toys that are in these bags, these big clear bags that we brought in here, truckloads of toys, like, I brought these. I'm going to come back and get them. And she's like, well, you can't take them. And I'm like, oh, I'm coming back. And I went and got a couple people in a couple trucks, and we showed back up, and they're like, you can't take these toys. And obviously we look crazy. And I'm like, listen, we're going to have a problem here. And so finally we just backed our trucks in and started loading all these toys up, and the security guard came, and I'm like, what are you going to do? Are you going to take these to kids? And it came this whole big fiasco, and we took all the toys and loaded them all back up. And then we're like, what are we going to do? So we called around to some foster care programs and an orphanage that was out in Waxahachie, and we just took all these toys and dropped them off on the 23rd, like the day before Christmas Eve, and found anybody that needed toys in the foster care program, took a lot of them. And from that year on, we no longer relied on anyone else to distribute these toys. We would always find families in need and stuff to give them the toys. And I just thought that was totally insane. I totally forgot about that whole story until just now, and I'm talking about it, and I got all worked up. But yeah, so that unknown organization that was just going to not give these toys out to kids, fucking insane. Whew. Well, anyway, I guess that's now I'm thinking about this, I got a lot of crazy Christmas party stories over the years. I might have to revisit this topic and tell some more crazy shit about what happened at Christmas parties. But yeah, we're ready to do it again. We're planning it right now. And if you're in Dallas and you come get Tattooed at Elm Street Tattoo, maybe you can come party with us. Christmas party. This last few years, we've had the party at Trees every year, thanks to our buddy Clint at Trees. It's the coolest venue on Elm Street, and great place to have a party. Whew. What else was I saying? Oh, all my rowdy friends have settled down thing. Man, who else is having this dilemma where they're still, I'm old, but I still want to hang out, stay out late, do dumb shit. Everybody's old and tired, going to bed early. Sad. I think I need to get a younger friend base. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm screwed. Well, back to the podcast. We've got Jason Schott from Schott Leathers this episode, and I actually went to the Schott factory in Union, New Jersey, and filmed the episode with Jason there. Very fucking cool place. I mean, it's incredible what's going on. You see a factory like that where stuff is actually handmade, mass scale, handmade product in the USA. And like I said, it is the number one leather jacket company in the world. I mean, they invented the motorcycle jacket. They made jackets they made the motorcycle police jackets. They made jackets for the war. They made jackets for the Navy, the Army. We talk about it quite a bit in this episode. It's really cool. But personally, my history with Schott jackets is when I was a kid, I wanted a leather jacket. My mom couldn't afford to buy me a leather jacket that I wanted. And my dad was not around a whole lot. And so anytime something would come up, sometimes my dad would get me some stuff. My dad was very absent for a majority part of my life, but he did come through some key moments. Bought me a mini bike, bought me a go-kart, but in this instance, my dad was like, "Oh, you want a leather jacket? You can just have my leather jacket, my old leather jacket." So he had a leather jacket that was from the 70s that was a Schott jacket. And he gave it to me, and I tried it on, and it was a little bit too big. And he's like, "Don't worry, you'll grow into it." And that's the leather jacket I had. So for many years, I had a jacket that was a little bit too big for me. And then I did grow into it. And I still have that jacket today. And it's one of the most cherished things I have from my father. And it's very cool. And I did lose it at one point, and it was gone for a long time. And then I recovered it in another amazing story, which, I'll probably do a story about that jacket, and y'all can learn all about it. But stay tuned. Listen to Jason Schott, Schott Leathers, American-made leather jackets. And thank you so much for Jason for letting me come in. I met Jason years ago. I went to the Schott store in New York, and I had a leather jacket that needed some repairs. And the kid that was working at the store was like, "Oh man," knew it was me and Dave walked in, so they knew we were from Ink Master, and they were like, "Oh, Jason, our boss, loves that show." So they called Jason and said we were in there. And then Jason was like, "Oh, man." And then I ended up getting hooked up with Jason, ended up doing a little tattoo on Jason, ended up going to the factory, and they fixed my jacket for me. And, we've just been friends for years now. And I'm just very fortunate to get such a cool, inside look into what's going on with the iconic American brand like Schott Leathers. Stay tuned. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. And you can also become a member of the What in the Duck podcast and get a lot of cool perks and free shit. Later, dudes. What in the Duck podcast is proud to be sponsored by Dream Machines of Texas. All of your used motorcycle wants and needs all in one place at dreammachinesoftexas.com. They have multiple locations, large inventory, and get new bikes in every week. Knowledgeable staff with great service, financing and extended warranty options available. They also have a complete service garage, so every bike is gone through and brought up to speed before you hit the road. I've bought more than a few bikes from Dream Machines over the years, and I could not be more satisfied. I have also had friends from all over the country buy bikes because they couldn't find a better deal anywhere. You can buy a bike and have it shipped to you anywhere in the U.S. Why buy a brand new bike with that brand new high price when you can get a like-new bike with that dream deal you've been looking for? Go to dreammachinesoftexas.com and get a bike and get your ass on the road. All right, welcome to another episode of What in the Duck podcast. As always, I'm your host, Audra Peck, and today I am in-house at the Schott Leather Factory in Union, New Jersey, in this cool little setup we have right here, and I'm here with Jason Schott.
It is a pleasure to be here.
It is, we met years ago, and it's been a pleasure getting to know you, and you've shown me so much cool stuff around here. And today we took another little tour of the factory, and, just want to talk about a lot of that stuff in and out of, the biz of making jackets, making the best leather jacket in the world, probably the most famous leather jacket in the world. Your grandfather.
My great-grandfather.
Great-grandfather started this company.
Yes, 1913.
Over 100 years ago, well over 100 years ago. And we'll start off with an interesting tidbit that I heard. Schott Company was the first implementer of a zipper on clothing, on jackets.
Certainly on jackets. My great-grandfather is the first person to put a zipper on a jacket.
So nowadays, it's pretty common to have a zipper on a jacket, but at one time, there was no zippers on jackets.
That's right. They were very expensive. If you imagine, there was no way of mass-producing zippers at that point. So they were done one tooth at a time. It was very expensive. And my great-grandfather saw an opportunity. From what he had told us, they were only really used on money belts. And he saw this opportunity for protecting riders. And those zippers were done manually, put together. And it wasn't until World War II, the U.S. government actually saw an opportunity to protect the the pilots and the bombers. And so they put in a bulk order for 250,000 zippers, and somebody had to figure out how to mass produce those things. And so it's one of those other things that it's a military innovation that figured out how to make zippers accessible for everybody. But up until that point, if you imagine riding, obviously, you've ridden a lot of motorcycles. You normally aren't going to wear a button front jacket because it's going to blow up like a balloon, right?
Correct.
And so zippers were
and
really
for keeping
important.
warm.
Yeah.
It really, especially the way this jacket is designed with the back flap behind the zipper, so that once it's closed, it is wind protected in the front.
And even that diagonal, that asymmetric shape is really important, so you can bend over the handlebars and it's not going to have that wavy effect. And so it really was new designs. It was pretty important at the time.
Well, when I was young and riding motorcycles, and before I had an actual motorcycle jacket, my first leather jacket that I got that was a motorcycle jacket was a Schott jacket. And it made sense once I got on a motorcycle with that jacket, because the jacket's designed specifically for riding, so it's not really the best jacket when you're not riding, because the sleeves are you want the sleeves to be a little bit long.
Yes.
I just heard a big noise kick in. Did that?
Yeah, I think our AC unit kicked on.
Well, we can handle that. We can handle a little AC noise. But so like the sleeves are a little bit longer, so that when you're on the motorcycle, it's the right length. And the jacket's a little bit higher in the waist, so that when you're sitting down, it doesn't cut into you. So when you get a jacket that fits you for a motorcycle, it's a riding jacket. It really makes a big difference.
And then for style, you have like the Ramones in the 70s didn't have money to go out and buy the custom fit jackets, and they happened to be gigantic. And so they were wearing these short jackets, and that became the look in the 70s, was like these shorter sleeves. And so we do a lot of sleeve shortening around here.
Well, so was the original innovation of the jacket for motorcycles particularly?
Yes, it was. I mean, if you look at the origin of motorcycle jackets and flight jackets, they really came from the same place. And if you think about it, those bomber airplanes in the 30s and really in the 40s, they had heat in the cockpit where the pilots were, but the bombers out there on the wing, they had nothing. There was no heat out there.
Hence the difference between a flight jacket and a bomber jacket.
Yes, that's right. But also those bomber, sometimes they're used interchangeably, but they had sheepskin of different thicknesses. And so that really heavy, like 3/4 inch fur was out there on the wing. But those early flight jackets and motorcycle jackets came from the same place, really.
They're talking to us. The business, we are actually in the Schott factory, and it's pretty cool. So if you hear a little bit of noises around, it's just because we are actually here where the magic is made.
Yeah, it's a cool feeling I used to work as an accountant, and it's such a different feeling to feel like such a sense of pride that we're here in the factory. And at the end of the day, I can see these jackets that we've created that have come off the factory line, and to go into our stores and meet customers who are so happy to be there. And, you can't smell it on the podcast, but you can smell the leather in here.
Oh, for sure.
And, it's a real sense of pride, and to know that we're building something here in the US. And, there's this emotional connection with our workers, with our customers. And it does make things very nice. It's a good feeling. Yeah,
a lot of conversations about leather jackets over the years with people talking about, younger people that want to get a Schott jacket, and they obviously it's not the cheapest jacket in the market. And, the main thing is, that once you get a good leather jacket, it's going to last you a really, really long time.
I mean, that's how we first met, right? Yes. You came into our store in LA and had a jacket that you wanted repaired.
Well, I came into the store. It was actually the store in New York.
Okay.
And the kid that worked there was like, "Oh my God." He was like drooling over my jacket.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've had it a really long time, and he was like, "Man, it looks so cool." He's like, "How'd you get it to look so good?" And I was like, sleeping on the side of the road in it, and rolling it up and tying it to the sissy bar and wearing it for 25 plus years, and so, and it had a lot of problems. And I was like, actually, I'm at the Schott store. Like, can y'all do some repairs of this? And he was like, well, let me, the owner might blah, blah, blah. And then we met, and you were like, man, this jacket is screwed.
Yeah, we really didn't want to touch it at first, but
the sentimental value to the jacket.
Yeah, it happens. We get these jackets that are 30, 40 years old, and they just need a new pocket lining in it. And we're like, we're happy to do it, and we're very happy to see it, but maybe buy a new one eventually.
Yeah.
But
I have many now.
You do. Yeah. I'm not blaming you on that one.
But there's something about that old jacket, it's like, I don't wear that jacket the most nowadays. My newer jacket is what I wear when I go on long trips. And, it's just, you buy that brand new jacket and you got to break it in yourself. But we were talking earlier about how you do a bunch of distress stuff and you soften the leathers and all these, there's so many options of jackets you can get in here. And I kind of made a comment. It's like, well, when you buy that stiff one and you break it in yourself, it becomes your shape.
It's a sense of accomplishment.
But it also fits only me.
Yes.
The way it's stretched, the way it shrinks, the way it settles in and everything. So it's like, it's the most comfortable thing there is.
And every scratch on it has a story. And it's telling a story of everywhere that you've been with it. So that's what I love about it so much. We're here in our archive area where we've got a bunch of old jackets, and it's like, the story starts when it leaves our factory. And we love getting those jackets back and seeing all the work that's been put into them. So and they get better over time.
A lot of these archive jackets are jackets that were out in the world for who knows how long. And then you've found them and brought them back home to be here, to be on display and whatnot for whatever reason. Is that something that you started in this company?
I did, actually. My great-grandfather and my grandfather, they were running a factory, and they didn't really have an eye on the future. They just were making, it was a business, and it still is, but at a certain point, we started to appreciate the history of everything. And now we say that our past is our future. And so those archive pieces work as inspiration for new designs. We're constantly looking back at the old styles or looking back at vintage jackets and figuring out, some people want to do that break-in process themselves, and other people want a little bit of a head start. And so the archive pieces we're referring back to see how does a jacket break in and how do we recreate that. But yeah, I got a talking to from, we did a book for our 100th anniversary with Rin.
It's a great book.
And it's a cool story about the history of the company and a lot of old archive pieces. And he gave me a lecture that the number one collector of Harley Davidson vintage is Harley Davidson, and the number one collector of vintage Levi's is Levi's, and the number one collector of Schott jackets should be Schott. And I agreed. And so, a lot of years later, on eBay and at vintage shows, and trying to buy incognito, and now we have a respectable archive, but it's still always growing.
Well, from your great-grandfather's point of view, he was making jackets.
Yes.
He was making something that was going to be something used and abused, and it was a product that he sold, and it was commerce. At some point in the last 100 years, it became part of the culture. At some point in the last, in my lifetime, it definitely was a part of the culture. Like just growing up as a young kid, seeing the Ramones, seeing Lou Reed, seeing James Dean, seeing all these people in that iconic jacket, it really, I think that was one of the first, if you want to call it a name brand, other than like I wore skate brands like Vans and stuff, but like I wasn't like a kid that like wanted, Guess jeans or Jordache jeans or, whatever. I was like, I want a Schott jacket, because that was a brand name that was like, it meant more than just whatever was trendy.
It's nice to hear. I'd love to hear that. And the reality is we've never really focused on that external branding. I mean, people put on the Perfecto jacket, the external, the asymmetric, and some people feel like they can't carry it off, that they don't have they're not cool enough to wear it or something. And that's all in your head.
Yeah.
But we don't put a lot of external branding on it. And so it really becomes something that if you know, And so
that's part of what's so cool about it. It doesn't say the label. You know, all these other brands, like growing up, like Nike or whatever, it always says the brand name real big on it. I'm the kind of guy that takes the Triumph logo off the side of the motorcycle, you know, when I was younger.
And yet the people who need to know, they know it's a Triumph.
Yeah.
They don't need to see it. And for us, it's a very similar feeling. You know, it's we feel like we have this underground awareness going on, and sometimes we'd like to be a little bit less underground. But, you know, at the same time, we make an expensive product, we put a lot of effort into it, and it gets better over time, but people seem to really appreciate it, and it gives us a lot of joy.
Well, walking around the factory today, you know, my buddy Greg is here with me, and you gave us a tour of the factory, and just seeing how many moving parts. I don't know how many sewing machines are in there, but 100 or more, and people are sewing every little tiny piece, cutting pieces of leather, like making puzzle pieces, and there's just the patterns on the wall, thousands of patterns for every different size of jacket, and all this stuff that comes together. And you can walk through the room like we did at the back, where it's just leather on a pile, and then there's a piece that's cut into this shape, and then these people are sewing these two together, and these people sewing these two together, and then it comes to the end and they're turning the jacket inside out, and it's a jacket. Like, I don't know how many jackets start out on the ground in the back, and then if is that a 1-day journey, or is it multiple days, like sleeves get made and then this body get made, and then
it's generally over weeks that a jacket starts from the back and works its way to the front.
So we were talking a little bit about how you decide, you know, somebody's got to manage what jackets are getting made. There's so many styles, and, you know, you're not making the same jacket every day all year long. You try to make a bulk of this one and then make a bulk of the next one. So you're saying a couple of weeks, it's like, oh, we're going to make these jackets for this next 2 weeks or whatever. And,
you know, one of the challenges of having a factory in the US is that besides finding the workers, which fortunately we've been able to do, and we have very loyal sewing operators and leather cutters who've been with us for a long time.
High skilled people.
Yeah. But the suppliers are harder to find because there's just so little of this industry left in this country that all of our suppliers are leaving or have left. And so we end up stocking, we walk through the warehouse and we've got piles of leather, pallets of leather there, waiting to be cut. And so sometimes we've got to plan much more than weeks ahead to figure out what leathers we need to have. You know, we're storing a lot of those raw materials, the linings, but sometimes we're running a factory, like I said. So there are times where we have a gap in our production. We're like, all right, let's come up with a new style. So we'll go in the archives, we'll go through the warehouse and figure out what leather we have. And that's when some of our coolest designs come up, because we're just creating on the fly based on something we feel would be good.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask, like, do you say, hey, you come up with the concept in the drawing room of, like, let's make this jacket in this color and this style leather, this style liner, or it comes up like, hey, we've got all this leather left over this color, or we don't have enough leather of this color to do that. So it kind of like, at some point, there has to be some juggling going on.
Yeah, it could be either of those things.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have extra leather and then we have to figure out what to make out of it. And other times it's like we have extra capacity, so let's just come up with something based on what we have here. And yeah, that part gets a lot of fun.
So with the family business, you grew up obviously around this, but at some point you got out of school and got a job and got a degree, and you said you became an accountant.
Yep.
At what point did you get drawn into working for the family business, or how did that come about?
I think it was always in the back of my head that I had this opportunity here, but we have this unwritten rule about this unwritten anti-nepotism rule where you have to be employable somewhere else before you can come in and work for the company. And I think it works out really well because I worked here in the summers.
But you can't just be, I don't ever had any other job other than working for my dad.
That's right. Or mom. It's my mom's side of the family, but my dad did work here for a while as well. But he kind of got, nicely pushed out. But that's a whole
at least he didn't get thrown out on his ear, right?
No, that's right. There was some family squabbles going on there.
Probably always family squabbles.
It can be challenging sometimes. But my family treated me like a little kid. I was fine for working in the shipping department, loading trucks and sweeping floors, and working in the lining department. I spent one entire summer just walking up and down the lining tables and just cutting strips of fabric. And I realized at that point I should stay in school for a little while. They didn't want to hear my opinion on anything. And so I went and worked somewhere else as an accountant, and I had some level of experience. And I think it's always good when you're coming into a family business to come with a different perspective and come in with some knowledge and expertise outside of what they already know, because they don't need me to just do what they already know. I had to come in with a different point of view. And so that's been great. I think that's been a really good. And now it's my mother, my uncle, my cousin, and I. The four of us are here, and we all have different backgrounds and different experiences. And the business is big enough that we can carve out our own little areas and not get in each other's way too much.
It's really a much better way to do it than just say, hey, you're my son, you're working here.
And you're going to do it the way I did it.
But also, you're going to not have that life experience to bring anything value to the company,
That's right.
And so that idea, that quote you said, where you're like, you have to be employable somewhere else. You have to have some viable skill for us to. You're not just going to suck off the teat.
It's better for everybody involved.
It is,
especially for me in that case, because if I came in and I was just wrong all the time, because there was only one way that they knew. It was their way, and I had no experience or couldn't say anything otherwise. And so coming in with some other knowledge and experience, first of all, I knew what was expected of me to work somewhere. So they didn't have to just watch the clock and make sure I'm there at the right time. Whatever it is, little things like when you work for random people, you get respect, and you have to show a certain amount of respect that your family sometimes doesn't want to discipline you, for example. And they also don't trust your opinions as much.
And the age-old story of the boss's son that just that nobody respects because he's just the boss's son. He doesn't have anything valuable to the company. And, I love that y'all have maintained to make jackets in America. I love that you've got this factory that's, I don't know if the original factory was somewhere
in New Jersey. Well,
it's always been in New Jersey.
We had a store in the basement and the Lower East Side of New York, but since the 30s, we've been in New Jersey, and we've been in this space since 2012.
Well, I mean, this is ever expanding. I mean, you've added onto this building since the last time I was here.
Yes.
So things are going well.
Things are going well.
Jackets. People need jackets.
Yes, thankfully, we're very thankful and appreciative that people still want to wear jackets, and still, I think it goes down to that emotional connection. We're building a product. It's not cheap. There's a lot of work that goes into it and a lot of love that goes into it. And people still get that emotional reward from wearing their jackets. And so we're very thankful to still be here and keep doing what we're doing.
I feel a turning in the tide where in the 80s, everything just became so disposable, and everything became, every year you want it because of fashion or because of style or because of something. Every year you want a new jacket, right. And that, with that kind of mentality, it's hard to justify the price point.
Absolutely.
Of a Schott jacket. But if you can get back to the point to where this jacket is made to last, these boots are going to last more than 6 months. This belt is going to last more than the 2 weeks that whatever trendy thing's happening. You know what I mean? You buying a product that you can wear for decades.
That's the plan.
It makes it a lot cheaper of a jacket than buying a jacket every winter.
That's right. I mean, in a way, that's our sustainability, is we're building products that are supposed to last for decades. And
I think that mentality is coming back, though. The disposable things are kind of like now less desirable. The high quality, longer lasting, the pride of wearing this jacket. Oh, I've had this jacket for 5 years. I've had this jacket 8 years. I've had you know what I mean? It's like, instead of like, I just bought this jacket yesterday, still got the tag on it. Like, that mentality is kind of phasing out. I hope anyway that disposable lifestyles are not sustainable for.
Yes, I think people should have better things and less of them, and that's what we strive to do here. And that's why, we're looking at our archives and picking designs that have withstood decades, that are still, and maybe the shape changes a little bit over time, and maybe that jacket gets passed on to somebody else in the family, but we are looking at classic designs that can be worn. We're not at the forefront of fashion design, and that's okay. Like I consider ourselves
timeless, though.
That's our goal. Yes.
Well, let me ask you this about sizing wise, because over the last couple, I'm in a business of printing T-shirts, and T-shirt sizing changes from year to year. Have you seen a jacket size like what was a medium at one decade? It's not a medium anymore.
Yes, absolutely. So we have.
So you have all these patterns that say they're mediums.
That's right. That's right. So we have a jacket, like our basic Perfecto jacket is our style 118 in naked cowhide. And then we have the steer-eyed version, which is our style 618. And those fits are different because the 618 is the original fit, which we still make a lot for Japan. But it's a little bit shorter and it's a little bit tighter. And so the 118 fit has evolved to be a little bit bigger, whereas the 618 is the original size. So it's like basically a size 38 in the 118 is the same as a size 40 in the 618. And that's just the fits have changed over time.
Well, I know I will recommend to anybody that's buying a leather jacket, you need to go try it on. That is the way. I mean, you can't. The idea of buying one and not holding it in your hand first is kind of crazy. So I don't know if y'all do a bunch of mail order.
We do, yeah.
I mean, maybe if you already know the jacket, but I mean, I wouldn't want to buy a jacket unless I put it on and made sure, because they're different. They
are. I mean, each one of them is made by hand.
The style,
and so there's going to be a little bit of variation in seam allowance and things. I think.
But like you said about the styles, the different styles fit a different body shapes.
Yes. Yeah. And so we try to showcase that as much as we can on our website. And I think people have a comfort level knowing that we've been around for 112 years. And so, they're dealing with a reputable company. And so, we do exchanges for people. But yes, the best thing to do, we've got so many different styles that when you look at them seem to be the same, but have little variations. It's a different leather, or the fit may be a little bit different. And so the best thing, if you can, is go into a store and try them, feel them and try them on and see what feels best for you.
Well, I've been in quite a few Schott stores I went to the Schott store in Japan this year and bought some stuff. And there's a bunch of different stuff that I hadn't seen before. So I don't know if it's, you have different stuff over there than you have over here.
Yeah, we have a design team in Japan. We actually have now, I think we just opened our 11th store in Japan.
I bought some cool corduroy pants.
I saw a photo. You sent me a photo from there. It's crazy how much Americana is sometimes more appreciated outside the U.S.
Yeah.
And so when I was that kid in the factory and my grandfather was still there running things, again, like I said, we were the factory. And it was these international partners that saw the brand, the storytelling part. I mean, our Italian distributor sponsored a Formula One race car, and when I was like 16, I got to go to the Detroit Grand Prix and see the Schott Formula One race car driving around, and it was like we didn't have that vision as much. We were running a factory, and we learned from outsiders, like, hey, we have something here, and even though we might be tired of hearing our story, nobody else is tired of hearing it, so we need to do a better job of that. So we have these 10, 11 stores in Japan, and we've got stores in Europe and licensees. And it's, sometimes we can learn a lot to try to look at it from an outsider's perspective.
Well, the key to having like the factory store, the Schott store, the people are knowledgeable. I've been in the store in LA, the store in New York, and, you got questions. They, it's like, it's they help you and try on all these jackets and see whatever's what. I feel like y'all have to have, a lot of dedication to making sure that your stores were representing the product as well. And I mean, you can buy Schott jackets some other places. When I was young, the main place to buy a Schott jacket was like the military surplus store.
Yes.
You know, it's like one of the only places you could find a real good jacket, because the trendy mall stores were selling $80 jackets.
Right. And like you talk about that fast fashion era, and that we hope that's behind us, but that was
survived it.
That was one of the worst times for us. I remember the Gap had a campaign, everybody in leather. And that was like the worst thing that happened to us, because
they were selling cheap leather.
Yeah, exactly. And there's still so many people that think that, that all leather is the same. And there are so many different variations of leather, and where the tannery comes from, and the different, there are very major differences in the different types of leather that you can get. And so, the time-tested traditions that we've followed for so many years, we continue with that, and enough people, fortunately, have figured that out. So I'm very happy about
the high end, the quality, the people that like quality strive to find the best. And you've done partnerships with other brands that also, you're doing something with Supreme now. That's not a secret, right? That's out.
Yeah, we've worked with them for many years.
People know about it. But there's some new jackets that are in pieces back there that that look pretty exciting.
Right. Those are secrets, but they're coming out. So you haven't said anything.
Okay.
You can't say yet. They appreciate that authenticity.
Who negotiates doing a new project with you guys?
So we're very fortunate to have more brands that want to work with us than
you have
bandwidth to handle. And so we can be a little bit selective about it. And sometimes it just takes it's an organic process where they have to have a clear vision on what they want to do, and we have to see it as something that we can do in our factory. We don't want to just take our jacket and stick somebody else's label on it and call it a collaboration. A lot of times with Supreme, they're out there finding vintage jackets of ours, and they'll tweak it. Maybe it's a different color, maybe it's a different fit. But they're going to cater our vintage jacket to something that fits with their design. And it works out. It's been a really great partnership. We've worked with them for many years.
They're kind of like the most collaborative brand there is. Like, they seek out that's pretty much all their products are some sought out special collab with some other high-end quality thing,
It's not all. I mean, they do a lot of things themselves, but I think they're such a great partner to work with, really, because they get it.
But they don't make crap.
They don't. No, they're very conscious about what they're delivering to their customers. They're also great with their suppliers. I mean, they've been a great partner to work with, and I mean, I think we get more requests for those collab pieces than anything else that we do. And I will say, with Supreme, you don't reach out to them, they reach out to you.
Yeah.
So, I've had plenty of people have said, "Oh, put me in touch with them," and it's like, no, that it doesn't work that way. They'll tell you if they want to work with you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're like you said, there's a lot of people that you don't have enough bandwidth to deal with everything. They also are maxed out at what they're doing. We also worked with you on, when I was doing some stuff with Sailor Jerry. I had Sailor Jerry jackets, the Navy P coats. I was doing tattoo events and Schott leather jackets. And, those jackets, from what I understand, were pretty low quantities. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of those jackets made.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice to do some of those projects that push ourselves. I mean, those were really, the graphics were so inspiring. I mean, all that Sailor Jerry graphics are so cool that it's fun for us to work on projects like that. And sometimes some of those projects, it's better that the quantities are smaller.
I feel like that. I mean, just from my outside view of my view of what I saw with that, it doesn't seem like that could have been like just outrageously profitable on your end to do that partnership. It wasn't like, because there's so many little jackets, and there was like, a lot of the jackets were, given to people for certain events or whatever. It's like, but that kind of puts you in that space for people to recognize your brand. And like, you don't have the word Schott on the outside of the jacket, but you're involved with this stuff that opens people's eyes to it.
Yes. I mean, maybe somebody in our family should come from the marketing side of things a little bit more. We probably could do a better job of getting our name out there and telling that story, but it seems to work fine.
Well, I think you're doing a great job. I just think that it's cool that you would, from my point of view, that y'all would do that project with that brand and collab something that's not just for money. You're obviously not just cash grabbing off Sailor Jerry. You're just doing something to be a part of this ethos, you know, to get it and just be a part of it. I mean, I'm probably didn't lose money on the deal.
No, we didn't lose money on it, but it's nice to do those kinds of projects that we enjoy. Sometimes we get involved with some of these projects where it pushes our factory to try some new skills, whether it's the decorations, stitching down some of those patches, or it's just working with people that we like working with.
Yeah. Well, seeing what we saw in the factory today, you know, you're showing us a couple of variations that you're doing for certain jackets. And it's like, to change anything is a major overhaul because all these patterns later, everybody's doing a certain job. And like to go and just change the shape of something on one jacket is a lot of work, sourcing the material, sourcing a new way to put a rivet in, all these kind of things you got to do to change. So it's like, it's a lot of work to make these variations.
It's a lot of work. I think that's why it's nice to be able to show you around the factory and for people to understand how many steps there are that go into each one of our jackets. And so when you make a change, there are a lot of moving parts that need to be adjusted. So,
yeah, I don't know what you think of when you just think about, oh, these people are making jackets, but man, it is big time factory feel in there. It's wild.
Yeah, it's good when all the sewing machines are humming and you can just feel a buzz in the room, and you know they're taking out hammers and hammering down seams. And
well, this is I've been through the factory a few times in the last decade or whatever, last however long it's been. Today was like the busiest that it seemed. Like it seemed like everybody was in there. Everything was just buzzing in there. You know, we're almost in the way, like walking through and trying to look at stuff. People are like working. Oh God, here are these guys. What are you?
We have a few projects coming up right now. And I mean, but you get attention everywhere you go. We went out to dinner and they came and asked you to sign a plate. Remember it's funny, our server held it together until the very end when the check came, and then she just broke down. She was so excited, wanted to take pictures. So I think you're used to getting attention wherever you go, but you're the most chill, famous person that I know. Like we went out to some par 3 golf course that had a live band going in the summer.
Oh yeah,
it was.
We didn't play golf. We just went to the
no
to the eats and drinks of the.
It was just a band outdoor at the. I mean, it's a restaurant, so yeah, there was no golf being played at all. But
are you a golfer?
No, not at all.
Is it too late for you?
I don't know. I haven't played my
You have played.
My oldest is 27. I haven't played since she was born.
All right. Yeah, we've been talking about maybe starting to play golf. I don't know.
I'm sure I would enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think now I could. Now that my kids are out of the house, I'm looking for hobbies. I got into fish. My wife and I decided that our son, he's living in an apartment in Hoboken, New Jersey, and she figured he needs to have some life in his apartment. It was getting a little sad in there. And she thought, we'll surprise him with a fish tank, which was a terrible idea. Because then I ended up going every weekend to take care of the fish and make sure everything was okay. And after a couple months of that and realizing he's never going to turn the corner on this, the fish tank is now here in my office, here in the factory. And I fucking love it. It's my new hobby.
You can get crazy on fish tanks, and if you get into, you got a saltwater tank yet?
No, I have it's a 20-gallon fresh tank. I've already got my eyes on like a 75, 90-gallon. I'm working my way up.
Man, you can grow all kinds of stuff in there.
I drive by right around the corner from the factory. There's a place, and I've been driving by, and I saw in the window that had a big fish tank, and I stopped and went in, and it's like this 800-gallon saltwater thing.
800?
Yeah, and so we'll see. I'm trying to balance how much joy will it give me to get a bigger tank with more fish versus the work it's going to take.
Man, it's a lot of work.
But it's less than golfing for 4 hours at a time.
Who knows? I mean, I have so many friends that are golfing now. It's crazy. Yeah, most of my time is taken up with riding motorcycles and tattooing and traveling around the country. But everybody's like, well, when you're traveling, it's the perfect time to play golf. Go play golf in all these places.
That's what wasn't that Neil Peart from Rush? Didn't he?
Ride motorcycles.
He used to ride motorcycles from gig to gig, and I don't know if there was any golf in there, but I remember
that documentary is really cool.
It's amazing. That's great.
Yeah,
and
people might not watch this documentary because they don't like Rush, but I promise you, it's a great documentary. Audra does not like Rush.
Why don't people like Rush?
It's just a certain sound. Not everybody gets into it, but if she doesn't, she had no care about Rush when she was crying in that documentary. The documentary is so good.
I know. That's our biggest regret, was not going to those final shows and then realizing that was it, and so. We've had such FOMO that I don't think we've missed a show of anyone coming around that we wanted to see. We just go to everything now.
You do a lot of live music. Every time we talk, you're like, we just went and saw this, or we went and saw. Because you've seen the Stones a bunch of times.
They're so amazing. Yeah, we've seen them. The Sphere. I mean, Dead and Company. That's our number one.
I heard that the Eagles are going to the Sphere.
The Eagles have been there. I haven't gone for the Eagles. We saw the Eagles here when they were in town, though.
Yeah.
It's fine. But they told everybody to sit down. They're like, some people like to stand when the show's going on, and some people like to sit down. You should sit.
They're old, man.
Exactly.
And me and you are probably in the young group of people that are going to the Eagles concerts.
I think it's a pretty wide range.
There's no 20-year-olds going to Eagles concerts.
Only if they get roped in with their parents.
Yeah.
That's probably what's happening.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of 60 and 70-year-olds going to the Eagles concerts.
Yes. But they're still great. They put on a great show. I mean, the Stones are in their 80s and they're incredible.
Yeah, I saw them. The last time I saw them was in 2015. And it was a great concert. It's
amazing how quickly you go from being the young guy in the room to being the old guy and people start calling you sir. It happened very quickly. It's crazy.
Well, how long has it been since you started working here?
So I've been here at Schott full-time 25 years.
Which is a long time.
Yes. It goes quickly, but it's some days feel like they last 25 years around here, but it's nice to have that perspective on our history. And it's nice to know, to try to set it up to be in a good place so that hopefully there's somebody in the 5th generation that wants to carry the torch.
Yeah, you would hope that that at least somebody carrying the name would continue to be involved over the generations. It would be sad. I mean, I just love the fact that y'all didn't just sell the name to somebody.
Right.
And somebody's making jackets, who knows where, just throwing a label on it.
There's
I hope
too
that
much
never
pride.
happens.
Yeah, it's a tremendous responsibility and a tremendous sense of pride that we're sewing our name into these jackets. And, we're here in the factory making sure it's done right. And I can't think of any other place I'd rather be right now.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody was to give you some crazy amount of money just to walk away, it wouldn't be worth it. I promise you, it wouldn't be worth it. You know what I mean? Then what are you going to do? You just got money for nothing?
I'd probably still be coming in here to make sure
they might close the place down and make it in Taiwan.
Right.
So, yeah, I think there's something really special to the people staying true to making the same product, keeping the name of the product. But nowadays, so many companies, you find out that the company hasn't been owned by the person in a long time, and it's just one company owns everything.
Right.
Yeah. It's when you really start to look back at all these brands, you like, oh, they're owned by this company, and that company owns this brand, this brand, this brand, this brand, this brand, and it's just like, no wonder it's just all watered down.
I went to, it's true. I was at a showroom for one of those types of brands, and it was like 5 different brands. They had the same shirt in each booth, but it was just, we just changed the label. That's how they make the fabric at the same time, and then they cut it into different shirts so that they can save money on the production and make a little bit more profit. And, that's never been our style. I guess, again, it goes back to our family has always been focused on the factory first. And that's the most important part.
Yeah, you'll be happier in the long run if you just stick to doing what you love to do instead of just trading it for money. That's what I've learned.
Well, so far so good.
So far, so good. Oh man, what's the what's the next big thing that you got going on that you can tell me about?
So I don't know how much I can. We're doing a project right now with there's a new movie coming out. There's been the Bruce Springsteen movie that's
Oh,
coming out in coming up pretty soon.
I
And
don't know if I know about this movie yet.
Jeremy Allen White. It's
Oh
about
wait,
Nebraska,
okay.
and it's like that time when I think he was trying to get off the road a little bit and some self discovery, and it's I don't know. They're going for awards with this movie, but
Well, that fits your demographic here for sure. New Jersey, leather jackets, Bruce Springsteen.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
How could you not be involved?
That's right. And so we're working. That's probably what you see with us going so crazy with the production on the floor right now, is we're building a bunch of styles to coincide with the release of this movie. And yeah, I mean, Bruce Springsteen has worn our jackets. He's been an inspiration for us. And it's such a great thing for us to be involved in, I think. So we're really excited. And so that's the next big project that we're working on right now. We've got a bunch of jackets that are tied in with that movie. And so that's a good project for us to be working on right now.
What in the Duck podcast is proud to be sponsored by Legacy Ink, the finest in tattoo pigments. I've been using this ink exclusively for over 20 years myself. It has been recently rebranded and marketed, but it has been the same recipe for decades. Real, hand-mixed tattoo pigments that heal great and last. People always comment on the yellow that I use and the yellow tattooed on me, my favorite, the Mayan yellow. I have seen countless 20-plus-year-old tattoos with the colors still vivid. Don't duck around with all these newfangled companies with their watered-down baloney. Get the tried, true, and tested good shit. You can find them on Instagram at Legacy Pigments or email Ashley today to place an order at legacyartsupplies@gmail.com. Tell them Oliver sent you and receive a special discount. Don't just do tattoos. Be part of a legacy. Well, you had something going on with the Bike Riders movie.
Yes.
That was last year, and that was really fucking cool. I mean, as most people know, I was on set of that movie, and my buddy was the stunt coordinator. We've talked a lot about this movie with tattooers, with motorcycle guys, with it's been a lot of talk about it because it hits home for us, and we loved it. But man, there was a lot of Schott jackets.
Yeah,
on that movie.
That's right.
There was a lot of vintage Schott jackets on that movie, and I told you the story. I showed up to wardrobe, and everybody was going through wardrobe, and I showed up with my jacket on, and they're like, "Oh, you've already been through wardrobe." And I'm like, "No, I just walked in. This is my jacket." So I got to wear the jacket that
you wore, our
the
jacket,
old worn out jacket that you fixed for me. That was the jacket that I wore in the deal. So that was super cool, and just the wardrobe department, they really went all out. And they got all period correct outfits, whether it was leather or denim or anything they had. And they had you got to get more than you need because you don't know exactly what's going to fit everybody. You don't know how many actors there's going to be and how many doubles and how many stunt guys and how many extras. So you got to be able to throw jackets on so many people. So I don't know if you were a part of that at all, but they amassed a lot of stuff.
I mean, they bought some jackets from us. I'm sure they found a lot of vintage jackets.
They did distress a lot of stuff too to make it look older, like the patches, like you have on the jacket over here. But yeah, it's like that movie. Like you think about that movie, that everybody that movie's about was wearing a Schott jacket in real life.
Well, thank you. We certainly had a lot of them, and yeah, that's the beauty of what we're involved in. It's like jackets, they leave here and they live an incredible life, and they go out and have great stories to tell. And that's what makes it so exciting. So it's nice to be a part of projects like that people recognize. And all the time people are like, oh, did we have a jacket in this movie, or was this person wearing our jacket? And it's hard to identify sometimes
because it doesn't just have a logo right on the side.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. And so many other companies now, obviously there's been the copy of this jacket, reckless lip band. It's like there's,
everyone always asks, why didn't we copyright the jacket, or I don't even know.
I mean, can you even do that?
I don't know. I think Levi's they have their back pocket stitching, I think, is trademarked. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's they seem to have legal protection on that stitching, and if anybody tries to do the same stitching on the back pocket, they'll get a love letter.
Yeah.
Again, we weren't thinking in those terms.
Yeah.
My great-grandfather certainly wasn't thinking in those terms.
Just make the best jacket.
That's right. Just keep making great jackets and people will find you.
So pretty early in the business of Schott Leather, you got military contracts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think a lot of that was done through as a contractor. We know that we were making jackets during that time, during World War II. We didn't have our own contract during that time. We had contracts later on. But we know we were making jackets during that time, and all U.S. production was focused on the war effort. So we know that we were making military jackets, but they weren't with our label on it.
Yeah.
So it was whatever needed to be done at the time. It's since even before 1913, my great-grandfather worked. He was a pattern maker making fur-lined raincoats, and we have like census reports. They're in the book that show the information about what he was doing at that time. So there was always, I've never found any of those fur-lined raincoats from the 1910s and 20s.
Well, you better get on the lookout.
I've been looking for them. I've seen, we have photos of the old store on East Broadway in New York City, and you can see the jackets in the window, but I've never found any of them.
Oh man. So he was making those for his own name or for another company, for another employer?
I'm sure it was a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
It's the whole industry was much more regionalized at that point. So it wasn't until the Harley Davidson distributor, this Peck distributor, that we got into like the mail order catalogs in the 40s, and that was what really launched that made the brand bigger.
The
because
motorcycle
we were regional.
jacket, yeah,
and the fact that they had distribution. My great grandfather was selling through, like, street vendors were selling door to door, and so that catalog business was the internet of the time, and so that's what really helped him to grow at that point.
Oh, it's very interesting. So your great grandfather started, and then your grandfather, did he just come straight? Did he take over instantly when your great grandfather?
He had a little, he had a little break to serve as a Marine during World War II, and
your grandfather,
my grandfather, he was shot on Iwo Jima, and spent some time in the hospital afterwards. And after that, he came and he found the sales force. Like, he was. My great grandfather was still focused on working with these street vendors, and my grandfather came in and started selling through like a sales distribution team, like the wholesalers, and
getting into department stores, which were growing at the time.
Department stores, even those, all those Army Navy surplus stores. If you ever look at the history of these stores, they all started after World War II.
Yeah.
So all of this production was happening for the war effort, and all of a sudden the war ends in 1945. And there's all this excess surplus goods. And every Army Navy store started after the end of World War II because they were selling all these surplus goods. And so there was this network of stores, and we continued to sell a lot of those stores with the peacoats, with the bomber jackets. And so my grandfather worked to get the sales team to sell those stores, to sell department stores. It was, anybody that would listen to him.
Yeah, the Army Navy surplus stores are kind of going away a little bit.
It's a shame.
And there's
really
not
is.
as many.
Because every time one closes,
when
it's gone.
when I was young in the high school, that was like the coolest place to go shop.
Because you can find everything there.
Yeah. I mean, everybody just went and bought camo pants I'm wearing camo pants now, but everybody went and bought camo pants at the Army Navy store instead of buying them at the,
If you needed socks
yeah,
or undershirts or whatever, like just all these basic goods, it was the perfect place to go. And they always had some cool things that you never thought you needed. Like, I don't know, the canteens. I don't know why I was always fascinated with the canteens, even though I had no interest in going hiking.
Well, when I was young and, camping, fishing, hunting, all that stuff that's where you went,
Right.
Before there was Cabela's and Bass Pro and all that, you just go to the Army Navy store.
And there was one in almost every town had an Army Navy store.
And there was big ones.
Yeah.
Had everything.
That's right.
I do think the big one in Hollywood is closed down. It was pretty huge. It was right up.
Yeah, right downtown. It's been in a bunch of movies.
Yeah, I think it closed.
We used to work with them. We used to work with all those big Army Navy stores.
Well, there's one on Hollywood Boulevard. I think it's still open, and I actually bought a Schott jacket there.
Yes.
One time, it's like they had I was small, and they had like a sale. It was the last of its size. It's like, and it had like, who knows? It had like something on it it was like from the sticker or something that was mucked up or whatever, and it was on sale. So I was like, whew. But that was a long time ago.
Yeah, there's a store not far from here, Bill's Army Navy, that was there forever, and we hadn't worked with them in 15 years, but I'd go in and they'd still had our hangers. They still had the Schott hangers on there. They were just putting other products on it. Even Dave's Army Navy in New York is a great customer of ours, but they rebranded. They're now Dave's New York. I guess their way of sticking around was to branch out a little bit more. So they're not
just selling surplus.
Absolutely. No, they haven't just been selling surplus for a long time, but I guess they abandoned the Army Navy name a little bit. But it's a cool store, Dave's New York.
I don't know that one. That one sounds, but it's probably been there since.
A family business. They're in their third generation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, you've got kids that are in college, right?
I do. They're out of college.
Out of college.
Yeah, I have a fifth grade math teacher in my family. My daughter.
Really?
My oldest. And I have another accountant.
And when did she get out of college? Because I remember she had gone to
right during the pandemic.
Okay.
Her graduation was in our backyard.
Very cool. So you don't think she's gonna get out of teaching and come work at Schott?
We'll see. I mean, I've got cousins, and I've got my 3 kids, and so we'll see. Between everybody, there's a chance, but it's a question of how long I'm gonna last until somebody wants to start coming in here.
So how much did you, when you came to work here, leaving from being an accountant, is that what you brought to this company, is to try to come here and take over some accounting side, or did you just... No.
It was very much not my intention to leave the world of accounting to come here and do accounting at all. So
you had enough accounting.
Yes, exactly. I've had enough accounting. No, it's a good background to have, but everybody in the family kind of has to find their own place. And at the time when I came in, we didn't have a website. We didn't have any stores in the U.S. And so
25 years ago was about the time that everybody needed a website.
Right. And so that was an area that I could focus on, that nobody in the family could tell me any different, because they didn't know.
Yeah.
And so that was
kind of like the perfect
area.
Time and place for new blood to come in and bring it up to speed.
Yes, that's right. And so that was my first area of focus. We had an embroidery machine that nobody knew how to use, so I had to figure out how to set up the computer and run that thing, which that didn't go as well as our website.
Oh man. So in 25 years, now you have quite a bit of automated things here at the factory. Like I see, you were showing us the big CNC machine and all this other, and the printer that prints out all the stuff. Is that all come to be since you've been here?
Yeah, I mean, I think
Was any of that automated stuff here, or is it all hand cut analog stuff?
my grandfather was always focused on the machinery. He actually invented. There was in our old factory in Perth Amboy, New Jersey. We had a room that was a locked room. My grandfather invented this machine that could stitch like 6 needles at a time, and he didn't want anybody stealing the designs. And so literally, I mean, I have the drawings, but the whole machine was like locked up in a room, and only he and the mechanic would go in there and work on it. So he was always trying to innovate. And so there was always this view of trying to figure out how to do things in a better way.
Yeah.
So we've always balanced that plus the tried and true techniques that we've always done. So there's always been a bit of a focus on innovation.
Yeah.
My mom has always been interested in if there's a better way to do something, then we should do it.
Well, it's cool because you go in this factory and it's not just, you didn't just get rid of all the old and just put all new. Like there's, ancient equipment in here and brand new high-tech equipment all side by side, all seamlessly creating this product.
Yes.
And it's, I feel like we're still pretty far away technologically from some of this stuff not having to be hand done.
Right.
Some of this stuff, you have to just actually use your hand and hold these two pieces and put it together perfectly. I don't know if you could automate. At this point, could you automate 100% of what you have back there?
Absolutely not.
No.
And I think also, for us, you were asking if we make the same styles every day. And it's like, there are better ways where the best scenario would be to focus on one style and just do that for the year. But you don't always know what your demand is going to be. I mean, that's the advantage of having a factory here is we can see where trends are going. And if something's going well, we can make more of it pretty quickly because we have it all here. We're not shipping it across an ocean somewhere. But at the same time, leather is unlike any other material because every skin is unique. All of that leather it's not even a byproduct. It's a waste product of the meat industry. And so somebody posted on our Instagram yesterday about how they wish one day it would be cool for somebody to not put on I forget how they phrased it, but it was basically they wanted people to wear vegan clothing, which is so much worse for the environment, the amount of plastic and the amount of energy that goes into it versus finding this leather, which is a waste product of the meat industry, and finding a use for it. But every one of those skins has to be cut differently because they're all a different shape. And so I don't see any way to automate all of that stuff.
Well, I can hear people's argument for, people that are animal rights and people that are vegan that don't want to wear animal products. But if you really look at, like you said, like this jacket is going to last 10 times longer than a synthetic jacket.
Leather, absolutely.
And you're going to spend more time, more money, more resources, and it's like you said, environmentally, it's going to be worse. Most people know I'm vegan, but I wear leather, and people act like that's some sort of conflict, and I'm like, no, I'm conscious of what I'm doing,
right?
But I'm trying to do what's healthy for the insides of my body, but I'm also not just going to not use something that's a completely viable source.
Exactly.
For,
like no animals are being killed for that leather. It's all a waste product of that meat industry. And so, yeah, we probably most of us could eat a little bit less meat, but there's a source of this material that's out there, and if we're not going to cut it up, it's going to be thrown out.
Got to do something with it.
Yeah.
And just looking at back on the track of all the different types of leather, you get stacks of leather that are from the same tannery, they're from the same, processing, the same time, and there's stacks of different ones, and each one has its slight modifications in the way it took the color, the way it takes the sheen, and you're trying to find all these just the right amount of pieces to make one jacket so it all looks cohesive.
That's right. There's variations in grain and in the thickness of the leather. the way that the dyes took to that hide. And so, yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah, there's like 10 hides laid out of all black, and they're just all slightly different. So you're trying to like lay them out, and you take the new one and see which one it matches with.
That's right. We
And then it
bundle them
goes into this
together,
pile, yeah.
and we get it so that each jacket is gonna be the same shade. That's
Well,
right. But sometimes it's varying. We have hides that are gonna be different color from one side of the skin to the other, and sometimes that's just the nature of the more natural.
And you
the
find
leather.
people are pretty picky about that buying a jacket. They're like, oh, this one doesn't look right because it's a little slightly discolored here.
You know, I'm sure you've seen some of those old videos of the people that are making the rugs, and how it's like this religious experience when they're weaving these rugs, and if they don't make a mistake by the time they finish, they throw a little mistake in there because nothing should be perfect. And, you know, for us, we have some people, they want the perfect jacket, and it's like every jacket is a little bit different, and that's kind of the beauty of it. Is it starts out a little bit different because every skin is a little bit different, and then it evolves over time to be even more different because that's what you do to it. And so if there's a little bit of a grain variation in one panel, it's like it's just gonna break in to be unique anyway.
As far as quantities goes, we're talking about you're making a style of a jacket for a couple of weeks at a time, pushing it out there, and then you see what your stock is. You might have to remake that style again. Just for like amount of quantity reference you're looking at, how many jackets of one style are you making a year? You have any kind of raw numbers? Are you making 10,000 perfectos? You making 100,000 perfectos?
Not 100,000. I mean, we're making, you know, out of this factory, we're making 50,000 jackets a year. Total. And so, you know, our more popular styles will be in the thousands of units down to like, we can make 100 pieces of something. The nice thing is if we feel like it's something special and there's an opportunity, if they're like, okay, we need something to cut, sometimes we'll throw in a small run of something.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of, you know, everyone can get their own something different. And, you know, maybe we listen a little bit too much to customers who are like, I love this jacket, but I want it a little bit different. I want a little change here or there. Like, okay, so we make that. And sometimes it sticks.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was cool when I brought my jacket up here. You looked at my jacket and you're like, oh, the way this is made and this tag and this, that, you were able to say this jacket was made in this like kind of a short time window.
Yeah. We put a little 10-digit code in that's sewn into every one of our jackets. And so we could tell what year we made it and the lot number and the size. And yeah, there's some cool information that we can get from that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool because I hadn't had the jacket a long time, you know. I have another cool story. I don't know if I told you this story or not, but in high school, my father gave me a Schott jacket, and I had it. And in the 90s, a couple years after I graduated high school, it got stolen from a car wash. Did I tell you the story? I don't know if I did.
No.
I went to the car wash and I washed my car, and then I pulled out and I was vacuuming out the seats, and I had a couple things in the back seat, and I put on the trunk, just laid it on the car when I was vacuuming out. And when I came up from vacuuming, somebody had ran off with my leather jacket. And I had painted on the jacket like we did in the 80s. You know, I painted a racing stripe down the sleeve and with the number 11 on the back. And I had photos of this jacket, and I put reward signs out, you know, and around the area where the car wash was. Nothing ever happened of it. Just a few years ago, within the last couple of years, my best friend, Jeff Milburn, sent me a photo. My phone ding, I look, and there's a photo of that jacket.
He found the jacket.
And I look at the photo, and my first instinct was to think, oh, he found an old photo of my jacket, you know, or me wearing it or something.
Sure.
I saw it. But then I opened it up and I looked at it more closely, and I realized that any photo of that jacket that would have existed would have been an actual photograph.
Right.
I lost that jacket before I had a digital phone.
Sure.
That took photos. So I was like, wait a minute, this is an iPhone photo of my jacket. And I texted him back, and I texted him. He didn't. I called and called and called like 3 times. He didn't answer. And finally he answered. I was like, dude, what is going on? And he's like, I'm at a vintage store, and this jacket is hanging on the wall.
He found the jacket.
And I was like, he goes, do you think this is your jacket? I was like, I know for a fact that's my jacket.
Of course.
And I had also painted Pecker inside the bottom sleeve. And I was like, it's got my name in there. Open it up. And he opened it up, and there's my name in there.
So did he have to buy it for you?
And we knew the guy who owned this vintage store. And the guy was like, hey, man, it's on consignment. Somebody brought it in here to sell it on consignment.
Wow.
And I was like, just give him whatever he wants for it.
Did you trace it back to the person trying to sell it to see where they got it?
The guy says random people came in and put it on consignment and blah, 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 blah. And who knows? But the funny thing is this jacket was in the exact condition that I lost it in.
Wow.
It still had 2 spark plugs in the pocket from my 71 R5 350 that I had at the time. It still had an old peppermint in the front pocket, and it still had this little snake dice pin that was stuck to it. Nobody was wearing this thing.
Right.
For 30 years. This jacket was just out somewhere.
They had to take it
doing
from you.
Nothing.
That's funny.
So whoever stole it was probably whatever, who knows, some random person walked by. They probably sold it to a vintage store, and then it probably just circulated amongst vintage stores for a while. Somebody bought it and then went to sell it again or whatever.
That's so funny.
But I got it back.
That's
I'll
amazing.
send you some photos of this thing.
Yeah, I definitely want to see that.
And just a crazy story. I was like,
I can't believe that you found it again, that your friend found it and remembered that was your jacket.
Well, I mean, obviously, it had this big number 11 painted on the back. So when he saw it hanging up there, he was just like, I think that's Oliver's jacket.
That's so great.
And so got that jacket back. And
I love hearing those stories. We get a lot of vintage jackets back, or like I said, we're out looking for them, and I always want to know the story behind it. And it's really cool when sometimes people will contact us to find out about a vintage jacket, and we'll even buy it from them or trade it for a new jacket. And it's always great when we can get the story behind it.
So you're kind of heading up the archival department.
Yes, I'd say so.
There was in the book, there was a lot of photos of vintage jackets and different people's jackets. And there's a lot of, obviously, the whole book. It's a huge 100th anniversary book that's got it's a really cool book. But that was something that happened under your wing, right? Putting that archival book project idea together.
Yes.
I remember when it came out, you were talking about it.
Yeah, it was a lot of work to put it together, and Rin Tanaka did most of that work. Fortunately, it's cool how many more jackets we've discovered since then. So it's like we're working on. I think we have to do the next version of that book with all the
well, you were talking
pieces.
About buying a jacket in Japan, right? It was like in an auction or.
Yep, it was a vintage show.
Yeah,
and actually it was. So, sometimes this one happened to be at one of Rin Tanaka's shows because he held these, it's called Inspiration, and he gets a bunch of vintage dealers together. And there was a vintage jacket there that was, it's only from the 80s, which I guess, that's 40 years old. But by our standards, that's not so old. But it had been beat up. The guy had rode it to Sturgis like 5-6 years in a row in the 80s. And you could sun fade it and sweat it out with all these pins from everywhere he had visited. It was really cool. And I wanted to buy it right away. And they told me you should wait until the end and then offer half of what they're asking. And I was really nervous. I didn't want to let it go because
it's big money in Japan. So how much money are we talking about for a vintage jacket like this?
That's the funniest thing. They didn't appreciate the vintage. They wanted dead stock new.
Yeah.
That's what's to them the most valuable are the new ones that are, it's old, but with the hang tags on it and everything is pristine. This one was
NOS, they call it.
Yeah. What is NOS?
New old stock.
Oh, new. Yeah. Okay. And this one was beat to shit. So honestly, it's embarrassing to even say. They wanted $300 and I got it for $150.
Oh, that's a good deal.
And it led to some great things. I mean, that was the jacket that Ralph Lauren ended up wearing for a few years. Like, he borrowed that jacket from us and wore it.
Yeah, I like the story. He wanted to buy it. You're like, nah, you can borrow it though.
It just didn't feel right to sell it. But if he wanted to wear it, it would be my pleasure. And he did, and it led to some collaborations with RRL, and that was a really cool experience. And it's all from this one jacket that I waited till the end of the show because that's what they told me to do, and got it for $150.
That's cool, man. Like you were saying earlier, the Japanese have such a high affinity for Americana stuff.
Yes,
it's pretty wild over there. I mean, it's pretty cool.
It's it's such a sterile and proper culture, and I think they're so used to following rules, and like their freedom of expression is to adopt other cultures, and they buy into this Americana vibe, and it's great for us. We really appreciate it, and but it is funny how sometimes that lost in translation, some of the things just get interpreted a little bit differently. They can carry off some looks that I don't recommend for anybody here, but it works for them, and it's cool. It's costumes. It's like they're just starting to get into like business casual looks, but it used to be you'd go around in Japan and it's either jeans and leather jackets or suits, and there was nothing in between. And now I think that things have loosened up a little bit.
I mean, they have so much. They dedicate so hard to a style or a culture or something. The chopper community over there, the antique motorcycle community over there is so fucking cool. They have so much cool shit, and they do, they're doing things with the vibe of the 60s, 70s chopper feel, but you can tell when it's over there. It's just different, but there's, there's so many antique Harley Davidson things in Japan. Like
so much of the best vintage Americana is in Japan for motorcycles, for leather jackets.
They only collect or preserve the best stuff.
Yes.
Like it's like whatever was the highest quality thing in 1979, that's what they have. Whatever was the best thing in 1934, they have that. They don't collect garbage.
Right.
It's all the best. Everything they have the quality control of even new products made in Japan is very high.
I think real estate is so expensive in Japan. And I think a lot of people are living at home a long time. And I think people are spending more money on those instead of putting it into their houses or their apartments, they're putting money into these tangible goods that are bringing them joy. And so they really do get a lot of joy out of those things. But you're right. They put a lot into it as well. What is the view on tattoos now in Japan?
It's the floodgates are wide open. Tattooing has gone crazy. I mean, tattooing has been pretty big over there since the 90s. The first time I went was 99.
But it was always banned. You couldn't...
It was frowned upon.
You couldn't go into a public pool.
You couldn't go in. And there's still a lot of places that you can't go
with tattoos.
With a lot of tattoos.
Because of the Yakuza,
But now that is rapidly decreasing. So many young people are just tattooed.
Right.
Like crazy. And there's a lot of people with American traditional style tattooing.
Mm-hmm.
And even the Japanese style tattooing is kind of caught up to pace with a more acceptable range of what people will get. And tattoo shops are open, walk-in, brightly lit places instead of
back alleys,
instead of secret entrances.
Yeah.
It's gangbusters. It's a lot of people, the young generation they're not worried about that old shit anymore.
Right.
And, I went there in December and tattooed, and the shop I worked at the same shop that I worked at in 99. And it used to just have like no lights out front. And now it's like,
Right.
It's like all lit up and fancy and big signs everywhere, and very well known. Everybody knows, and they have multiple locations and in multiple cities, and
it's open.
Yeah,
that's great.
It's cool. It's very cool, and just like with everything else in Japan, the quality is the
I can
highest.
imagine.
And so the tattooers over there, the kind of people that are gonna become tattooers over there, I hate to say it in a certain way, but there's a lot of people in America that are just like, oh, I just bought a tattoo machine on Amazon. I'm just tattooing now. I put up on Facebook that I'm doing tattoos, and now I'm a tattooer. But in Japan, everybody's serious about it. It's still a serious thing to be a tattooer over there.
I mean, I think that's a part of their culture. Like, what is the puffer fish? The fish that if it's prepared wrong, it can kill you.
Yeah, people eat it anyway.
Because they do. Yeah. Because in Japan, if a chef served you that and you die, they die, basically. Like there's such a sense of pride that they would never serve it wrong, and they would go through the proper training. I ate it. I don't know why I did. It's a bit of an adrenaline rush when you know you're eating something that may kill you. But I would not have the confidence
when in
to
Rome,
do that.
Dude, you got to do it, right?
I wouldn't do it in this country.
You wouldn't eat the pufferfish?
Not in the U.S. I don't think so.
Oh, man. Well, I did a lot of when I was traveling young and from the late 90s all through the early 2000s, I was traveling the world, and I pretty much was like, try whatever there is to try.
Right.
Like, you didn't go all the way to Thailand to not drink the cobra blood.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You didn't go all the way to Japan to not eat the brain or the whatever the thing. And I ate a lot of terrible things, but I also had a lot of cool things, But it's like, you got to try it. And there's a lot of people that are like, I would never do that. I was like, well, then don't travel the world. Don't try to go see things.
So is there one thing that you ate that was better than you expected, and one thing that was as bad as you thought and you'd never go back to?
Well, the worst, the thing that people, I probably shouldn't even say it, but I'm going to say it just because I'm going to tell the truth. When we're in Indonesia, we did eat some dog. And people are like, why would you do that? And I'm like, we were in Indonesia. Right. And the guy said, you want to eat the dog? And we're like, we're here. Like, I ate, a monkey brain. I drank the cobra blood. Do all these crazy things in crazy places.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really good.
No. Yeah, I've seen that.
But it was spicy, and it the rumor, the lore is that you eat this dog meat that's like filled with adrenaline, and you get all amped up and hyped up, and I did get amped up and get all hyped up and felt like I had like a but maybe I just my mind was going crazy because I ate a little bit of a dog.
I imagine so. I tried to avoid any place that had dogs out in front. I would stay away from, just personally. But I don't know. I asked the question.
and now I don't even eat meat at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? But people like, I used to be the try anything. Like, if you go somewhere, I would eat squid. I would eat this. I would eat the, whatever crazy. I ate bugs in Thailand, like all the, they on the street market, they're selling these huge bugs on a stick that are fried or whatever. You try them. Some of them taste great. And if you didn't know what it was, you wouldn't know what it was. But when you know what it is, it's like, oh, it's weird. But yeah, now I tell people now I'm past the trying point. I've made it this far in my life. I don't need to try crazy shit just for the sake of trying it.
I agree.
But when you're young and you're in the middle of nowhere and traveling the world, you want to take on whatever experiences, that you have. And, I don't know. I don't necessarily, I wouldn't recommend it, but I don't regret it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, you got to do what whatever. When in Rome, they say.
That's right. Yeah.
But you lived, you ate the pufferfish, you survived.
I'm here to talk about it. And
was it delicious though?
It was fine. It was not anything worth risking your life
That's
over.
the point about the dog is like I just did it because of the thing that was going on, because it was accepted where I was.
Right.
Like if it would have been in Tennessee, it would be very looked down upon.
Yes,
But in
absolutely.
Indonesia, it's like, what? This is normal.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole separate conversation that we probably don't have time to get into.
Yeah, but you say you ate the pufferfish because it's this crazy experience, but then it wasn't really. In the end, you're like, nah, it was all right.
Yeah, they could have served me any fish.
But if you would have been like, it was the
same.
greatest thing I ever ate in my life, and I dream about it every night,
Mhm.
then you would be like, oh, well, maybe it was worth it.
Maybe I'm just not a connoisseur of sushi enough to know how
Yeah.
special it was. I don't know. It's I've had factories. You know, I was in China. We sourced some things from other countries, like some sweaters that we do, and I had a factory owner that made me try things. Not
Yeah.
dog, fortunately, but like whatever it was. He's like, we try hard for you, so you try for us.
Oh yeah,
So he called me
you
out.
must try.
Yeah.
You must.
I have no choice.
They say that you must try. You must try.
And you have no choice but to do it. Yeah.
Well, there is a lot of cultures that I've been to where I was like, wow, later in my life where I don't eat fish. I just don't like fish.
Okay.
Even before I was vegan, I wasn't big on fish. But you'd go somewhere and you'd be in a scenario where it's like rude not to.
Yes.
And I think we have that used to be a big part of society, is that like you do what your host offers,
Yes.
and it's like, well, I was here, so it's rude not to do this. And so you do it. And then sometimes it's like, it's rude not to toast this drink. And like, well, I don't drink alcohol, but some people are like, well, I just took one shot because it was rude not to. So
Yeah.
everybody nowadays, it's like most people like already have a hard line. They're like, well, I'm not trying it no matter what. I don't care if it's rude or not. And I don't know which is better.
I had somebody ask me for an autograph once, and nobody should want my autograph. I'm not that kind of a person that anybody should want my autograph. However, so at first, I didn't sign this person's autograph, and then we walked away, and they probably thought I'm a big asshole.
Way to go.
And I never rejected anybody's autograph ever again, because nobody should want my autograph, but if they ask me for it, I'd be happy to give them one. It's just, who am I to say no if somebody wants it?
I mean, regardless of how you feel or not, this person knows who you are.
Right.
And not only do they know who you are, but they know, the legacy of what's going on here.
That's what I have to remind myself, is that I'm bigger. The company is bigger than any individual.
Yeah.
And I am a representative, a vessel of the company. And
nobody's going to be able to get your great grandfather's signature.
That's
right.
But
they can get your signature.
So I'm here to represent for my grandfather, for my great grandfather, for everybody that's here in the factory working really hard to make jackets for people. That's if I'm the signature for all of that, I'm happy to do it.
I mean, it is a weird thing when that happens to you. When I was first on the television show and people started wanting to take photos with me and get a signature, get me to sign something or whatever, there is an adjustment. It's a weird. And why do you want my photo, my name? It doesn't make sense. But I have maintained to not tattoo my name on people.
Okay.
When people get a tattoo, sometimes people ask me to sign the tattoo, and I was like, the tattoo is the signature.
Right.
What I hope is that you got this cool eagle tattoo, and regardless of whether I cease to be famous or not, you still have a cool eagle tattoo.
Yes.
But if you get this eagle tattoo and it says Oliver Peck underneath it, and then 20 years go by and nobody cares who I am, or whatever, it's like you're not tainted with that. You still have a cool eagle. You don't need my name with it.
Absolutely. I don't know if you watched or read Game of Thrones, and all these people started naming their kids after the characters. And I remember George R.R. Martin was like, you got to know how it ends first, because some people go in a very different direction. And there's a bunch of kids named after characters who just went completely crazy. Who were the worst people,
right?
Yeah.
Oh, the villain. Well, I mean, villain names are kind of cool nowadays, I guess.
They are, but you should know what you're getting into.
Yeah. I mean, pop culture does has drastically put its effects on life. Like I've seen things that have mimicked pop culture my whole life. You know, whether it's naming of kids or fashions or styles or whatever. I mean, it's like so many people attach their identity to these things. We were talking yesterday about how we saw a car with the sticker on the back of a Nightmare Before Christmas sticker, and I was like, what is it about certain things that people just attach their identity to it? Like people have like 2 full sleeves of Nightmare Before Christmas tattoos. You know, it's like that seems like a pretty permanent decision to what your current favorite movie is or whatever.
Our graphic designer met his wife playing Pokemon Go, and now they still go to all these Pokemon Go conferences. And
that's my little brother and his wife.
Yeah, and that's their thing. And you know, whatever it is, it's so funny how many
they named their kid Pikachu.
maybe that's coming. It's funny, but yeah, something resonates with people, and that's the beauty. Is I don't know. There's so many pop culture references that our son. I mean, now he's 26, but my wife and I will say, "How do you know these references?" And it's all from like Family Guy.
Oh, yeah.
From South Park and Family Guy made all these references, and it's like he doesn't know the original references from the Brady Bunch or the Happy Days or whatever, but they brought it back up again.
But a lot of people will see something like, I'll see it in my generation. I'll see some reference on something new and like, what is that? And then I have to look it up and it's like, oh, it's this thing from the show I never watched that was in the 90s, something that happened in the 90s or early 2000s that I was already out of the loop for. And I'm just like, oh, people love media of all sorts.
I mean, it's crazy to see my nephews and their obsession with their iPads, and it's like I don't know. There's a problem brewing in our culture that social media and these devices, and it's not just kids.
I'm addicted to it too.
Yeah,
like most of my friends are addicted to it, and is it causing a major disruption in my life? Not yet, but is it affecting? Yes, 100%.
So my wife and I were talking.
Am I aware of this problem? Yes.
Yeah, we talked about it, and within a 5-minute conversation, we thought about going like device free for a weekend, just like an old school like Jewish Shabbat with turning off all electronics, and then it was like, well, wait, we can't watch TV. We fall asleep with the TV on. I was like, okay, well, we can have TV, but we'll turn our phones off. But wait, it was like immediately within 5 minutes, we were like in the fetal position, like we needed our devices. We couldn't live without them now.
Yeah, I recommend having some breaks from it. And, when I'm when I'm riding my motorcycle across country, it's like the bulk of the time you're riding your motorcycle, so you're not on your phone. Except I am like changing my music selection.
I was going to ask about that.
People that ride with me know them. I probably mess with my phone a little too much than I should be while riding on the highway. But you're not like in tune to things that are going on on social media, and then you ride all day and you do this and you're tired and you sleep and you wake up early and whatever. And just for like a week of that, like it's
a refresh.
Yeah, you get a little bit of a downtime from it, and you realize, there's a lot of stuff that you think you're missing, but you don't even know about it, so you don't know you're missing it. You know what I mean? Like when you're in it every day looking at it, you're like, I feel like I need to keep caught up.
Right.
But
then you get back and find you have 1,000 emails that you have to look through. And
luckily for me, I have a guy that answers the emails.
That's what I need, a guy.
Dude, it's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too much. But my job is to do tattoos. And so the emails are setting up the tattoos. I'd just have somebody else do that, and I can do the actual tattoo part.
Right.
It's much better. If I had a job that was like where I had to pay attention to whatever's happening to make, I don't need nothing I don't need to make any decisions on these emails. You want to come in at 2 o'clock? You want to come at 4 o'clock? You want to come at 6 o'clock? You know, I don't need to.
That's the one thing
That's a job I don't need to do.
I love going into our stores. I love meeting with customers, and I love that interaction. But once they're trying to decide between one jacket or another, I don't have the patience to sit there and walk through it with them. I have to walk away. I can't do it. It's just take as much time as you need, but I can't deliberate with you. I just don't have the patience for it.
You just need to tell them what jacket looks good on them.
I'm happy to.
This one looks great. This is the one you need.
They don't always want to hear it from me.
Well, the time that I got, you know, me and Dave went to the Schott store in New York and got jackets that a long time ago. It's like I think it was before I met you. It was like the time that before the guy ended up getting my number and giving you my number.
Yes.
But me and him tried on jackets for like an hour or more. You know, like, what about this jacket? What about that jacket? I mean, we pretty much wore them out. And they're the kids in there, but they were really cool. Try this one, try that one. And it's just like, there really is a lot of difference.
There is. I feel like Dave has a very clear vision on what he wants. I feel like he's pretty locked in on, it's got to be black.
Black is nice.
It's got to have the right collar. He knows, but it is fun to play around with that sometimes.
Yeah, so me, there was an episode where me, Dave, and Chris were all wearing Schott jackets.
Yes.
On the episode.
And we actually went and visited. We were fortunate enough to go backstage with you while there was like a final, what was it, 24-hour tattoos or 48-hour?
Oh, yeah, the finale.
The finale.
When they did the finale in New York before we started doing it in Vegas.
And then I think my wife put up a picture sitting at the judge's table. You're like, yeah, you got to take that down. That was a bit of a misstep on our part. But it was really great to see. I mean, it was very cool to be a part of that. I mean, not only to have our jackets there, that's the best part, but to get to go and experience it from the behind the scenes. And even before the finale, you were nice enough to have us up there. And you're a great host, I got to say. I mean, you're about to go on television and judge in front of everybody, and you're giving out drinks, and you're making, you're always the host. Very nice.
Well, you returned the favor many times with letting me come over here and check everything out here. I could come here a dozen more times. It's so cool to walk around in here.
It's my pleasure to have you anytime.
Well, man, thank you so much for just shooting the shit and telling me a little bit about, the historical side of it. I don't know how we didn't get too deep in it, but just there's a lot of history that goes into something like this. And for me personally, there's a handful of things that just stand out as like iconic brands. Schott Leather is definitely one of those things. And it's still here. It's still family owned. It's still Schott Leather. It's not Wrangler Jeans, who's not even owned by anybody, had anything to do with Wrangler Jeans anymore.
I'm not here to shit on Wrangler Jeans.
I mean, I'm just saying, they owned by one of those companies that owns a million companies.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not trying. I don't mean to like.
But we are still here.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
We're still doing it the same way my great grandfather did it, and it just tweaks here and there, but it's his idea, and we're just carrying through with it. His vision.
Well, it's the coolest shit around. Thank you so much, bud.
Thank you, Oliver.
And thanks for being here and telling everybody about it.
My pleasure.
Bingo. Hey, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Come on, guys. Click all those links. Push all those buttons because it really helps us out and gets us out there to more and more peeps. What in the Duck podcast is produced by Audra Cabral and John.com Niederkorn. Our sound, video engineer, and editor is Courtney, Jr. Larkins. Initial audio video setup and intro music by Blake Balake Pinchon. And a big thanks to everyone that submitted questions. Y'all keep them coming. Email me any questions you would like me to answer to whatintheduckpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on What in the Duck. What in the Duck podcast is proud to be sponsored by Anchor Screen Printing. Anchor Screen Printing has been printing t-shirts and merch products since 1999. Anchor is the place for quality, small run items. At Anchor, every print is hand done by people who care about art. You can email anchorcustoms@gmail.com to talk about getting something printed for your company, brand, or shop. Anchor Screen Printing also has its own online merch store that sells Elm Street Tattoo, Cheap Thrills, Heart in Hand, Party First Safety Maybe merch, and much more. So go to anchorscreenprinting.com today and buy some cool shit. Or you can click the link provided in this podcast to shop now.